Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Stephanie's Stamp Pad where we get together and make a card. Today's card says hello and it's a flip it card and you open it up and it says friendship is sweet and beautiful. Isn't that fantastic? And I just love a lot of things about this. One is we're going to make our own pattern paper using a couple different stamps here, and we're embossing this layer, so we have a lot of fun ahead of us. Now some of the products that we're going to be using are my Lively Framelit Flip It set that I designed for Sizzix. It comes with the Hello die, which is very exciting. We're also going to be using the Triplet Flower number 3 that I designed for Sizzix. We're going to be using the Flower Power Embossing folder that I designed for Sizzix. Then we're going to be using my favorite Wishes collection paper pad. We're going to be using an oldie but a goodie Daisies for You stamp set that is still one of our best sellers. We have to constantly remake them because they sell very well. And some enamel dots, which are fun. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is create the base of our card. That's always the most important thing to do, is because it's like the foundation of our card. So we're going to open this up. Oh, we're also going to be using guava ink, candy ink, and a little bit of banana ink. Now let's open this up. Now we're going to focus on the 3 largest dies in this kit, but we're also going to get out this Hello die. And I just realized we're also going to need the Lively framelits. So I've already die cut mine, but you're going to use the Lively framelits as well for this set. Luckily I already have mine cut out because I don't have them right here in front of me. Now the first thing that we're going to do is move all these off to the side, and we're going to die cut our base. Let's get that out of the way, grab this, and we are going to die cut it out of the candy color. Lay that down. Now, it's human nature to want to go straight through the machine, but our roller is here and our blade is here. If we go straight through the machine like this, that roller is going to jump over that blade and it's going to be a speed bump. We don't want it to jump over that blade and not cut. We want it to cut. So we're going to skew this ever so slightly. Stay on your platform, but skew it just that much. And just that much is going to give us a better cut every single time. We're going to run that through. The cracking you hear is normal. That's the blade going through the cutting pad. We're going to pop this out, and you'll notice that not only is it die cut, it's also scored for me in 4 spots. I'm going to put that off to the side, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the layering pieces. So I'm going to die cut this one, and I'm going to find the layering dies. And I'm going to, now you'll notice I'm double layering that. That's okay, you're allowed to do that, and it's just going to save me some time. I'm going to lay that right there, and then I'm going to run this through. Now I do have a little bit of a speed bump issue here, so I'm just going to tilt that ever so slightly, tilt that one ever so slightly. Now I don't have as much of a speed bump, and I'm going to run those through. And we're going to decorate both of those panels in just a second, so those are going to be fun. So we're going to pop that out. And we're going to pop out this white one. And I have 2. I have an extra pink, so we'll save that for later. What I do when I have extra pieces, I just put it right back into the envelope. That way I have it when I'm ready to use it next time. If it were to go into my scrap pile, if it were to go into my scrap pile, I might lose it and I might not know exactly where it is, or I might use it for something else. And it's the perfect shape for this, so I'm just going to leave it with that envelope. Now I'm going to also go ahead and die cut. I've already die cut the Lively shape label out of the yellow dots, but I'm also going to use, and I have some here that has adhesive on the back. Oh, this one already has Sizzix adhesive on the back. I'm going to die cut the Hello. Now the Hello has a lot of blade involved, so I'm going to run this through twice, and I'm using a smaller cutting pad because I'm lazy. I'm going to run that through. Listen to that. Lots of cuts, and I'm just going to run it right back through. So easy. But that way I'm given a better chance and it's going to be nice and clean. So I'm going to peel that up and look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Hello. Now let's start putting some, oh, we need to die cut some flowers still. So let's go ahead and die cut some of our flowers. Let's see, let's lay all of those out and let's get our flowers. I have some open. So the triplets are really fun because they add so many possibilities. Of course, mine is dirty. I never clean mine out until the last second. And I had a paper piercer here. Where did it go? Oh, we can use our brush. So we just want to clean our dies so we get a better cut. So we're going to add this on the pink dots. the shadow dye on the dark pink, and then a little tiny yellow one, little dye here for that one, and oh, the white. This one, and we really, oh, actually we're not going to use that. We're gonna use that right there. Look at how fun it is to use my extended magnetic platform. I can fit all of those on there. And I'm gonna use a smaller cutting pad so that way I don't have to run it through so many times. I don't have to crank it forever. I'm just gonna run that through. And I think we are set on die cutting. So I'm just gonna move those off to the side, leave them there for now so I have them. And let's start putting our card together. Oh, I just realized we need to emboss. Let's take that out. Okay, so we're just gonna move those. I don't wanna lose those, so I'm gonna just put those over there. Put those over there. And we are going to get out something that I don't get to use very often. It is our multi-purpose platform. It comes with the machine. This machine actually comes with a longer one. I have a shorter one. And we're going to take tab 2 off and use tab 1. We're going to use 2 cutting pads. There's one. We're going to get another one, but we are going to get our embossing folder. Now, here is a tip. Let's get, where's our paper first? Where's our die cut paper? I always lose things. I don't know how I always manage to lose. Oh, here it is. You could probably see it at home. What we're gonna do is we are going to feel our folder. One side is nice and smooth. The other side is more bumpy. It's more like a mountain. And what we want to make sure we do is we want to make sure that our flowers are bumpy on the right side. Because if they're bumpy on the other side, this is not gonna fit. See, if it's bumpy on the wrong side, it's gonna be backwards. So we want to put this on top of the mountains so the mountains will go up through our card. So this is our mountain side. We're gonna lay that down and we're gonna close that up. So now our mountains are gonna poke through that. We're gonna grab this and run that baby through. Run that baby through. And I love this embossing folder. It is so much fun. So now you can see my card is perfect. The bumps are on the right side. The bumps are on the right side. So let's move all of this off to the side. And let's get this. Now, look at the difference. You can see that we've inked this. We've used our inker and our blender, and it just adds so much more. So let's see if I have my, oh, hi Cookie, I didn't even know you were down there. Let's get our guava ink pad. This one's a new one. Not very often I get new ink pads. And now you can use your larger pads for your blending, but the problem is these start to collect lint, and when you're using your blender on your ink pads, on your big ones, you'll get lint involved, and then you'll go get a big stamp and stamp on there, and all the lint will be on your stamp, and you don't want that. So I like to use the little pads for this. So I'm gonna get some ink and I'm going to scratch paper, and I'm just gonna lightly go over. Look at this. See how it is literally popping off the page? It really, really, really adds more dimension. I love that. Look, you can see I did it down here. I have not done it up there, and it just adds so much. Start off the page and just go on. You can just literally rub it on. Look at that. It just really makes it pop. Okay, add the lid so you don't put your hand in it like I always do. So we have that side done. But we need to do this side, and we're going to add a lot of those little tiny flowers. So where'd those little flowers go? Here they are. We're going to add a whole bunch of these little flowers, and we have now part of it we're already stamped. So part of it I stamped "Friendship is sweet and beautiful," and I added the cute little flowers. So that's one part we're going to do, and the other part we are going to decorate these little flowers here. So the garage is opening and our big sister is home, and Cookie is wanting to say hello, but Daddy locked her in our room. So we are going to add these little flowers. Let's get a little block. Oh, here's a block and here's a block. And let's add these. So we're gonna add this one and this one. And we could do both of these actually. We have another flower on here too. So let's add one of those too. So we're just using the medium and the small daisies. So let's get candy first. And let's add a whole bunch of candy on this one. Let's fix that. There we go. So let's add candy on this. Okay, and then we'll do guava on that one. So then let's add candy on this one. And we're literally going to overlap these because we're going to make our own pattern paper out of this. So we're just going to go all over. All over. Now we're going to switch to guava. So let's just, and that one's an icky pad. I ruined it earlier, but we'll move it over here and do it. So we're going to just add it over here. Isn't that fun? Now the guava ink is going to match the guava cardstock on the other side. So we're going to add all of these. And then I think we're going to just add 1 or 2 of the guava. Oh, you know what? I wanted to use the little flower. Sorry. Clean that off a little. Let's use the little flower. And there's just a couple little spots that could probably use this little flower. Look at that. We are making our own pattern paper. You are now a pattern paper designer. Okay, so let's move that off to the side. And one thing I noticed that I want to do is I've already die cut this yellow piece out of the framelits version, and I want to add a little bit of inking to the back. You'll see that it's darker over here and lighter over here. It just adds a little bit more dimension and more interest for the eye. So I'm going to grab some yellow, and I should use my little pad, but I didn't. Okay, so we're going to start this over here and just add a little bit more over here. We're going to add less over here. Just kind of add. So I did a whole bunch over here, a little bit right there, and none right there. So just to add more definition. Okay, let's put this baby together. So now let's peel this hello. Get all that out of there. I love this hello die. It's probably one of my favorites that I've done. There we go. And let's get our card. We can move this out of the way. Let's get our card. Now, never decorate the centers until you have folded it. So let's put our layers on first. So we're going to add adhesive to that. This embossing folder is by far my absolute favorite I have ever done. After this one, it's probably the swirls. That's my second favorite. And we're going to add this. It's funny because whenever I tape videos for Sizzix, I always say, oh, this is my favorite, this is my favorite. And they say, Stephanie, you say that for everything. And I said, but most of it is my favorite. I designed it that way because I like it. Now we're going to fold this. We're always going to hold our flip it cards in the air facing us. We're going to have a big bottom, little top. We're going to fold it in half towards us so the corners line up. And we're just folding on the score lines the die created. Then we're going to take that top flap and fold it up on the score lines the die created, and then turn it to the left. Little side is always on the left, LL, little left. There is the basic of our flip it. Then we're gonna now decorate the front because we don't wanna decorate the front until we know for sure that that's the front. And I did find some foam squares earlier. Oh, I think these are them. Actually, they're not, but we'll use these. And we'll add a little bit of foam squares to this. And we'll peel off the backs. And I hate to peel off the backs on camera because it always takes me forever, but looks like I'm getting these kind of fast. Okay, so we'll add that right there. Then for the inside, we've stamped "Friendship is sweet and beautiful." We'll add that to the inside. And look how it layers so perfect. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add our little flower. So we have our flower here, and we have our big flower here, so let's add adhesive to that. And we're just going to add adhesive to the very center because we want to pull up these petals a little bit, just to add more dimension. See that? Look how easy that is. We're just going to add a little bit of dimension by pulling those up. And then we're going to add the white piece. And this, we need to have scratch paper behind us when we add the adhesive, just in the center. We're going to add that right there. Then we're going to add that little yellow guy we cut out. Oh, here he is. We're going to pull that guy out. And I seriously cannot find, oh, here's one. My paper piercers, I usually have tons. And just for kicks, oh, I tore it a little. Just for kicks, we're going to add a little tiny bit of inking. So I just inked a little tiny bit on this one. And we're going to lay that one down, and we're almost done. We're gonna lay that one down, and then to finish this little guy off, we are gonna use a little enamel dot for the center. And we used a yellow one, so I'll grab it. I think I had one. Oh, here's one open. So we'll grab a yellow one right there in the center. I love it, I love it. And we're going to add adhesive to this, and we are done with this. This is probably one of my favorites. Why? Because it's pink and it has flowers. And we're gonna add that right there. And look at that, hello. We're gonna open that up. Friendship is sweet and beautiful. Isn't that fantastic? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Stephanie's Stamp Pad. I hope you learned a new technique today. Make sure you share these videos with your friends because maybe you want them to learn a new technique as well. Come back next week because every week we have a new video. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.